Conflicts that we have as a single parent, especially when you're going through court issues, can be devastating. Hi, I'm Trish Gleason, and today we have with us Coach Judy Romanoff. Hello, Coach. How are you today?
Hi, Trish. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on your show today.
Well, you're welcome. Coach Judy, let me tell you just a little bit about this lady. She's a world-renowned specialist and expert in divorce and single-parent issues. She's been doing it for 20 years. She's also won the National Phoenix Award recipient. She's also the founder of the National Single Parenting Resource Center, which I'm sure you'll give us that website soon. And we're so happy to have you here to ask you some questions to help all the single parents in the world, men, women, any of them. So let's get started, Coach Romanoff.
Well, I want to tell you, it's beyond the parents. It's also it's the grandparents or extended family that actually becomes part of the court if they're brought in as witnesses, or if they even have the children of that single parent.
So what you're saying is if you're going to go to court, okay, so let me back up a minute and say, I divorced a divorce lawyer. So probably nobody knows more than me how the outcomes can be. So what you're saying is your support system is of primary concern and importance when going to court?
Well, my concern is the best interest of the children, having been a former guardian ad litem with the courts back in the early 90s. That's where everything is paramount, which people forget about. The parents, the grandparents, the aunts, uncles, and anybody who is pulled into the court arena. Because one never knows who's going to be your adversary once you enter into a legal action, because you don't know who the other parties are going to bring in against you.
Okay, so I think I kind of want to back up just a little bit. So everybody watching, if you're a single parent, you're going through the court system. We're not attorneys. We're not giving you advice. We're just giving you suggestions and talking about what Coach Judy has helped other people with in her past. So we want to talk today about people who are in the court system and trying to deal with custody issues, but we also want to talk about other issues in dealing with as a single parent. Is that true?
Yes, we want to talk about what is best interest of the children. What about child support? What about visitation? So there's a myriad of issues that enter into the court system if the parties cannot resolve it on their own and they fail or refuse to go to mediation, or if mediation that's been ordered does not resolve the issues.
Okay, so you mentioned if people out there need help, they can go get a guardian ad litem?
No,
can you tell everybody what a guardian ad litem is? They may not know.
I will. A guardian ad litem is somebody who was appointed by the court to oversee the activities and the raising of a child. Usually they're called in where there is suspicion of abuse or neglect, even though they may be fabricated. The court doesn't know, so they're going to appoint a guardian ad litem to go in and basically investigate and meet all parties involved and do an assessment of what the situation really is, because you get 40 hours or more of training to become a guardian ad litem in the first place. So you're not just going in and saying, I'm a guardian, but you have to get certified by the state in order to be a guardian ad litem. So what the guardian does is they're contacted by the guardian ad litem program and reach out to their guardians to say, we have a case that there's suspicion of abuse or neglect, and we need you to go out and meet the child, interview the child, and talk to all the different parties involved. Even if they're not in the same state or the same area, a guardian will be appointed, potentially even in the other area. So your job is to oversee the best interest of the children and doing everything you can to make sure all parties understand it and are following the directions that they are, as either from you as the guardian or by the judge or the court system.
So if somebody, a couple is assigned, a couple that's split up is assigned a guardian ad litem, does this mean one of the persons are in trouble or possibly both of them?
It doesn't necessarily mean you're in trouble. It's a safeguard to go in and really see what's going on. Because when you're in litigation, everybody's emotions are ripped up. People are angry if they're fighting for something. So things can be taken out of context or not really understanding what abuse is or what best interest of the children is because they have their own definition and the child's being pulled as a pawn by all parties involved.
Do they only assign a guardian ad litem when it's to do with court issues, or is a guardian ad litem there for other reasons too?
Well, it generally is a court-appointed situation, and there are guardians for other areas for seniors, but we won't go there because I don't want to confuse anybody. But a
Right.
guardian is basically to look out for the best interest of that child or children that are in the mix from that standpoint.
So again, if this is not legal advice, we're just having a conversation. And so let's say I'm a single parent and I think there's something not right with the visitation that my former significant other has with my children. You're saying we could call the guardian ad litem, or you can't?
No, what it is, you would have to file with justification to the court why a guardian ad litem is necessary. And generally it's done by attorneys, but because attorneys are so expensive, a lot of people are having to represent themselves and be pro se advocates and be their own attorney in court. So
Okay.
everything you do when it involves your child and you're not living together, even if you cohabitated and you're no longer cohabitating, there are legal responsibilities that you have for that child, and the child also has rights that need to be addressed. So that if the parties are not, you have no choice but to go to court and request and show grounds and reasons why a guardian ad litem. Just as saying something may not guarantee a guardian. They really have to see their police reports, what's been going on. It's various areas in order to get a guardian. And necessarily, you don't really want a guardian in your life. You want to keep your legal process as simple as possible. And if possible, stay out of the court arena and try to find ways to compromise, because several things will happen. Number one, you're going to lose your money.
Mhm.
Number two, you're going to be put under undue stress and
Mhm.
lifetime decisions during an emotional time.
Mhm.
So it's really important to take a step back and think about what is in the best interest of our or the children that are involved first, and put that like at the top of the list and really try to work together. Now, there are cases where people cannot communicate. It's gone. They have no choice but go to the court and state that there's abuse or neglect or suspicion of abuse or neglect going on. And I just want to say, I'm not an attorney, but I am a guardian ad litem, and I have worked these cases and been doing this for really back in the early 1990s, not only for myself when I was in litigation and had a guardian appointed, which was not necessary, but the other parties are making out, which is a key gameplay, is, oh, there's abuse, there's emotional, mental health issues. So they've got to bring an outside party that's supposed to be not supportive to either side except that child to get involved.
Right. And it seems like, I don't know if somebody told me or I read it, that you were appointed with Broward County, somewhere in Florida. You were the county advocate or something about
Well,
trainer.
okay, let me just say, I've been working before the internet came in the early 90s. I was working with moms and dads from Broward to Palm Beach, but I was appointed after my court case was over, which I had already gone and saw the guardian ad litem because I was involved in creating Mothers Without Custody. So I had an advantageous of going to Palm Beach County to meet and talk to different people to let them know about this particular group. But my case actually was in Broward County because my divorce was in Broward County. So everything where your divorce takes place, any litigation involving the family members go to that county.
See, so then you started up a nonprofit. And what was this nonprofit called? And you still have it to this day.
I started in 1992, the National Single Parent Resource Service as a profit, and then in 94 converted into Resource Center as a nonprofit organization.
And people can go to that to this day and get some help.
What?
People to this day can go to your website and get some resources if they're having issues?
Most definitely. And this is the other key thing is that we are a 211 resource with the Palm Beach County 211 hotline resource line for Palm Beach and the Treasure Coast here in South Florida. And we are getting calls from people from all over in the area. One of the problems is this, is that people do not have the money because it's been exhausted when they've gone through litigation, or they're dealing with other issues as a single parent and they think the National Single Parent Resource Center has money to give them. And I have to say, we don't have money to give, and we're trying to raise money so we can do more to help single parents who don't have it and can take advantage of the programs I'm able to offer them.
So can you give people your website? That is also a 211 for the Palm Beach. I guess that's the
211 is known, apparently to those who are in the industry, it is the resource hotline of all different nonprofit organizations in the county to reach out for all types of resources and all types of help, not just single parents.
I appreciate all your help. So what's the website they can go to?
Okay, so I'm going to give you my portal website is coachjudy.info. It has a page on there for the National Single Parent Resource Center where you can also access that website. As we do not have a website person to help us, we created a portal website with the different programs I offer besides my own talk show and different life coaching, because the fact is, for your listeners, is that I've expanded beyond single parents. It's for anybody who wants to achieve success and get to where they want to be, and they just need some guidance, support, knowledge, and resources. So I just want your listeners to know that if you're listening, it's not just for single parents. I expanded because there's such a need out there because people are so lost today.
Mm-hmm. So I know you have an international radio show, or is this a live broadcast that goes international?
Okay, it is a live broadcast. We do it through several different venues. We do it, of course, live on Facebook, so we can reach our Facebook friends and expand from that standpoint. We are also heard through Passionate World Talk Radio, which has been on the internet for 14 years in 102 countries. And then also we've joined another network, I think it's GWSN network, which is internet. We just did a show with them the other night, and our show's going to be with them. Besides, we're on numerous podcast platforms like Google Podcasts, Podcast Addiction. We're on Spotify, and we're expanding our shows into all different platforms.
So what do you talk about on these shows?
Actually, our show is a little bit on single parenting, because I find that when I did my radio show with Clear Channel Broadcasting, people didn't want to hear so much about single parenting. So I decided I want to reach everybody. So we created a variety of show for getting practical tips on all different subject matters that one deals with. For example, I had Steve Jobs of Apple. When he just opened up the store here in Boca Raton, he was on the show. I have people in business.
Wait a minute. Did you just say you interviewed Steve Jobs?
Yes, I did interview.
Did you really? Wow.
Yes, and I have to be honest, I didn't quite realize the magnitude of who he was at the time, because I'm interviewing people on business, people who were Google and Microsoft, and it was new that I figured I wanted people to really learn about what is going on in the new technology and what's available, because I love business and I want business people to enjoy our shows as well. So our show really is a variety, from business to just life to single parenting, experts in various areas. Matter of fact, I had The author of the book, I think A Child Called It or A Boy Called It, Dave Peltzer, he was on my show last year, and he's internationally known. He's a speaker, motivational speaker. He survived the worst child abuse case in the 70s in California, written books. He's been a motivator. He even served in the military. He's been honored by excuse me here, get a little carried away. He's been recognized by 4 US presidents and so on. So our guests are not just local people. We bring guests from all over the country and internationally. I had a guest from New Zealand who was very big in New Zealand coming on about transformation. So our show really is a variety of show. Like my motto is for everything that I do, it's been get the facts, act, and achieve success. And that's our mission as Coach Judy in helping single parent families and anybody who wants information just to enjoy life. They don't have to need help, but just to enjoy life or achieve goals or find themselves where they want to move in a different direction. Talk to somebody who's really walked the talk, because everything that I bring up personally, I've literally walked the talk. I've not had it easy at times. As a matter of fact, there about 5-6 years, I went through really tough times. I was out of the loop. And it was thankful that I had learned through my custody battle the knowledge to cope and to sustain my mental health so that I could keep myself going in a very healthy way.
Well, wow, we appreciate all you do for the community and the world. But let's get back to basics. So if somebody needs help with child custody issues or support as a single parent, they can go to your website, which was what?
Is www.coachjudy.info, and it has a page on there and information about life coaching that I do for anybody. You can fill out the form and contact us, and we can discuss the coaching that you need. And everything is done on an individual basis when it comes to the financials, because everybody has different needs and expectations. And then also,
everybody can fill out the form and submit it, and you'll at least talk to them at no cost to see what their needs are. That's a free consultation.
Right, it's a consultation, interview to really find out what their needs are, and I will give them maybe 1 or 2 practical tips, and hopefully they'll see that. And when they read the information that's out there on Coach Judy Romanoff or the National Single Parent Resource Center, they're talking to somebody who understands it, who's been successful, because I know the emotionals that go through that people, if you haven't walked it, you don't really grasp the emotional impact it can have and the impact of how it can turn your life in so many different ways. And you don't have the right guidance and get the right tools, you're going to have a much harder time in dealing with anything in life. And I'm here, I've lived it. I've been through so many different parts of life, through my family, through myself personally, and trying to achieve success in various businesses over the last, 40, 50 years. So I've been through a lot. And I've also, this is important, I think people understand, I've walked and lived on both sides of the financial spectrum. So I know what you're thinking and feeling, no matter whether you're a very successful CEO or if you're somebody who's just really struggling.
I think I read somewhere that you grew up with what do they call that? The Argyle socks?
Oh, yes, I did. I will say this to those who know me. I feel I was very fortunate. I was very lucky. I did not literally have to work to put the necessities on my table. So I was very lucky, and I recognize I was fortunate, but it allowed me to do the National Single Parent Resource Center and not be concerned of raising big money. I wanted to really help people and hoping people will donate to the organization, which is in real need, to do more programs and help those who cannot afford the type of services they really need out there.
So can we talk about other resources? Can you think of something else that someplace else single parents can go to for help? Maybe there's single parents that can't even afford to put food on the children's table. I don't know. I'm sure of that.
Well, that is true. And the problem is that the system only, as I was listening on the news today, where like the SNAP program for food is only supposed to be assist. But if you don't have much income coming in to take care of the basics, trying to get food on SNAP is very difficult because it doesn't give you a lot. And then they're forcing you to go to food banks travel around, and then lots of times single parents have little money. They may not even have a working car. So
Right,
they
so
got to reach other people.
can you think of some place they can go?
Yeah, there's a lot of food banks around the counties. So if you need food, you need to know where to go and who to call to be able to bring in additional food to feed your children. And people are sometimes going with one meal because they don't have enough. And the other problem is a lot of the single parents, moms and dads, the child care is so expensive that they really can't afford the child care, but they need to work. And it's like, how do you do it? So I try to give them some tips if they have the abilities to become, working and work from home and taking advantage like I have of the internet and the opportunities that are out there that was not there when I first became a single parent.
Mhm. Can they email someplace if they're in dire need?
Make it easy. I'll give you my email address.
Okay,
It's
what is
judylive@gmail.com. That's my main website, email address for everything. I'll give you my phone number if you need me.
Yes, go ahead.
It's 561-441-8557. And you don't have to be in Palm Beach or Broward County. You can be anywhere in the country. You can reach out to me because thank God for the internet. We can do coaching. If you want face-to-face coaching versus phone coaching, because of the internet, we can sit here like we're doing now, face-to-face, and do our coaching sessions so that you don't have to travel.
Right. Not only that, but you can refer them to a resource in their area if they just need immediate help.
Exactly. It's really finding out what their needs are. It's like when a 211 call comes in, instead of hearing their whole long story, I say to them, what is it that caused you the need to reach out and call me? Because I like to get to the nitty gritty of what are your needs are. And then if you need the other support and help, I'm here to coach you and help you with all of that, because there's just so much going on in a person's life, in their mind, and trying to manage. It is so difficult. And I like giving them tools to help get organized, to become systematic, and how to communicate so that they can achieve what it is that they want. Because people fail to realize communication is key. And there are so many ways that we all communicate that if you're not communicating effectively, you're going to have a problem.
So ladies and gentlemen that are watching this program today, you may not need help, but you definitely know someone who needs help. Most all of us do. So it may be a nephew, a niece, a neighbor. Forward this and share it with them so then they can call Coach Judy and get some help.
And I want to say to you, for those who are listening, as an example, when I was going through my custody case, I reached out to the non-custodial mothers, which I started a group for, and dads. And actually, when I was going through my custody case, it was not your typical custody case. And I had dads literally in the courtroom during majority of the different hearings in giving support. And that's really important. And there's other issues I don't want to get into that people don't realize and understand about the court system. So there's just so much that people have no idea what they're walking into. They're walking into a maze because the court system has their own ways of doing things. And if you don't understand the games that are played, is the best way I can put it, by the attorneys, the judges, the system itself, you're going to get lost, and you could end up really doing harm to your case and you and your children in the long run if you don't have all the tools and understanding of what you're facing. And also, as I say, I help my clients be able to communicate with their attorneys and understand what the attorneys are saying. And with one case, I went with her to the attorney, and I actually explained to the attorney how the client is understanding it. And then I also helped the attorney and paraphrasing to the client what the attorney was saying, because I understand the legal jargon and how you work the legal system. So I was able to bridge the gap between the two that weren't communicating well, and that happens so often. I also say you've got to be your best advocate, and you really need to understand what you're walking into and really how to hire a lawyer. I have a session, I even have a video on divorce that I do with coaching and communication. And it's like helping people to understand what you really need to know. Unless you talk to somebody who's been through it, and you've only talked to lawyers, you could be taken down the wrong path. It's like you even have the right lawyer for your case. And what worked for one person that you know may not work for your case. And people are caught on to like, well, he was good for me, for my friend, well, he'll be good for me or she'll be good for me. That's not necessarily the case.
Right. Well, we really appreciate your nonprofit organization and any support you can give to everybody. Can you think of something else that we need to talk about today about single parenting and how they can overcome the obstacles? Because it is tough.
Well, I will. I think part of it, and it's with all of us, is that we all need to find out who are we as a individual, especially after you've gone through the emotional turmoil and you come out on the other side. Do you really know what you want? Are you really able to relax and de-stress yourself and as I decompartmentalize to prepare to start your new life as a single parent? So there are so many different areas, and I'm here to help guide them into pulling it together and helping them have like a system that is a life system for them to move forward. And what I teach them as a coach, they apply it to every part of their life. So it's not just one thing or that thing. It's a combination of a number of different areas that people need to understand to build their life again and enjoy. As I say, and my father taught me this, is right before I was going to go through my divorce, is a problem is an opportunity for learning. So every challenge that you're faced, if you can step back and take a look at it, you're going to be learning, so it becomes an asset to you. And people realize that what we experience, it really is assets if we're open to learning and growing and enjoying life for ourselves, for our families, our children, no matter where you are in life, because even senior single parents, they have a difficult time because there's parental alienation, which is a big area that goes on where parents, even grandparents, aunts and uncles may not like the other parent, and they will disparage that parent and not realize the damage they're doing to that child or children. And then it becomes lifetime anger, lifetime challenges. If that child builds up the anger, the resentment, or hates the other parent, refuses to see the other parent. I know a case, it's one of the oldest parental alienation kidnapping cases in the country. And even at 40 years old, she still had not heard from her son. So there is damage that is done where people lose their kids for life. And how do you cope with that? And then when you do have your children back and you're lucky to see them, they've got all this anger and misconceptions of who you are. So they don't necessarily see you in the light that you really are as a person, because everybody's been talking negative about you.
Right. Can you think of a few key points that a single parent should follow? You know, for example, one of them I think is to make sure you don't develop parental alienation. That would be one thing that would be a must, I would say.
That is one of the biggest things, and that's something that almost everybody does. And I like to give people credit. If you don't know about parent alienation and you don't understand the impact, now is your chance to turn it around and do the right things. I mean, there's subliminal brainwashing, there's obvious brainwashing, there is like, if you don't allow the child to have pictures of the family that they love and telling them, no, what is it that you're saying to that child? If they're not allowed to speak about the other parent or the other family, you know, that's hurting, that's brainwashing, believe it or not. And if you're knocking the other parent, says, I'm gonna tell you, I went through this, and it was with my own immediate family because of conflicts within the family. It was like, your mom was not a good parent. And you keep telling that child and you're showing ways that you think is not a good parent. Just because your parenting roles or the parenting style is different doesn't mean that parent is not a good parent. So
it's like brainwashing. You're sort of brainwashing the child. They get confused.
Totally, and you're confusing the child. And also there's the financial buying of the children. Well, like for example, my family had lots of money, could provide so much more for my children than I could personally do. So kids are taken in by money. you know, the family, the mother or the grandparents, because a lot of grandparents are raising our grandchildren today too, because unfortunately, a lot of these parents may have been drug addicts or become drug addicts, become mentally ill. They need the family. That's even if the family is around. And if the family's not around, chances are they could end up in mental institutions, foster care, and that's a whole nother area.
Mm-hmm. So parent alienation, don't do that. What would be another tip? What would be another key things for people to remember when they're single parenting?
When you're a single parent, don't beat yourself up and make yourself thinking you're a bad parent. My philosophy is this: if you are working from the heart, you're doing the best that you can, and you're reaching out, then you're being a good parent. Your parenting styles may be different. Like, I believe kids need to learn to be responsible and clean up their room, do their laundry, cook if they can, teach them independence so that if something happens, they can take care of themselves, because then you don't have to worry. Where other families are, they should do everything for the child. It's like babying the child when they're teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not helping your children if you're babying them, or if you're buying them things to get them out of trouble. You're not doing them justice. It's basically one of the things that I learned, and for my kids and seeking professional help in parenting my children, was kids have to learn natural consequences. But the key is to what degree do we allow the natural consequences to take place, and when do we have to step in and take other ways of addressing the parenting of our children?
Mm-hmm. So we talked a lot about parenting when you have a lack of funds. And there may be a lot of people watching that know of somebody that doesn't have enough money to take care of their children or themselves. Do you know of any resources that they can go to locally to get free daycare?
I don't know anyone specifically. It's what lots of times I will refer them to the 211 unless I know of something, or I know their situation applies to a particular agency.
Can they call a church? Are churches known to help if you just call them randomly?
Well, no, it doesn't necessarily work that way, because there's lists that they have of people who need help. And then also I found it's like when I called a particular agency in the denomination that I am, and I asked for help, and I was turned down. So it depends if you fall into the gray areas that they can help you. Everybody has different guidelines that they use for even helping people. And it's whether you may be a member of a church or a temple. So there's so many different factors. There's not enough agency. I would say if people would donate to the National Single Parent Resource Center, we have a page through coachjudy.info where you can go to our site where you can pay through PayPal or contact me, and I can run credit cards for you if you didn't want to use internet.
And let me interrupt just for a second, because we're non-selling on our interviews, and Judge and Judy Coach Judy is not selling, because hers is a non-profit. She's just saying if you want to donate $5 or $10 or whatever, go to the website and do that. It will help. That's all. She's not money she's putting in her pocket.
Oh, no, I will say I've never been paid a salary. Everything that I've done is to benefit and help the organization, and only one person can't do it. And it really takes a lot of people, but also valuing, and this was the problem I had early on. Well, I have my own agent, my own organization. They never saw single parenting as an area to donate because they see it as a choice. Well, lots of times it's not a choice. If it's a choice, they did it for particular reasons. So single parents and organizations like mine need your donations so we can do the help that's needed, because so many call and don't have the money. And I can't, my time is limited. So I try to coach them a little bit for a few minutes on the phone, but I know they need so much more. I'd love to be able to, provide those services, and we can't without donations.
Absolutely. So the 211, which I don't know if something's just wrong with me. I have never heard of that before. So you can dial 211 from any area in America?
I'm not sure other areas. I know in Palm Beach County, if you dial 211 and you say you need single parent help, we are on that list. that at one of the agencies, you call for single parent help.
Oh my
And
God. Mhm.
for your listeners, let you know that we've been honored nationally. We've done so much to help the community, that we're also on the 211 information sheet that's a double-sided of some of the organizations that it goes out to the county. But they call us and they're looking to help, but they don't have money. And I feel so bad. I have to turn these people away because we
Right.
don't have the money to even help them with rent or anything else. And that's why that's an area I want to work on, is get people involved if they want to volunteer, help us raise money so we can be another facility to help these single parents who need help and offer them a little bit and let them give back a little bit so it's not a handout.
Okay, it is 211 is nationally for help.
Okay, so then
I just looked it up.
okay, great. So then it's all states. We've been with 211 since 1995. So we've been with them like 25 years.
Oh, great. Well, Coach Judy, we've learned so much here today, and we really appreciate everything you do and all the time that you donate and have donated for the last 20 plus years. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I love it. I enjoy it. It's my passion, and it feels good when you see somebody feeling down or in tears and can walk out or hang up the phone and feeling better about themselves, because that's what it's about. You know, you're touching a life, and I love doing that. I always have, and I just will continue and won't stop.
Well, give us your email address one last time.
Okay, it's Coach Judy Live. That's LIVE @gmail.com, and it's Coach Judy with a Y.
Okay.
Live @gmail.com. And my website, to make it easy, is just go to www.coachjudy.info, and it will take you to what I'm doing now for everybody, as well as to the National Single Parent Resource Center website where you can make donations.
Well, I guess we're about ready to wrap it up, so we really appreciate it, and maybe we'll have you back another time.
Great, thank you. I appreciate the time here.
Have a great Sunday.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.